Make these 7 investments and never work again. Guy retired at 42, not from rich parents, not from lottery winnings, not from crypto luck. 7 specific investments he made between the ages of 25 and 42. Now lives off passive income. Doesn't work, doesn't have to, never will again. His coworker at the same company, same job, same salary for 20 years. Still working at 65. Will probably work until 70. Maybe longer if Social Security isn't enough. Same starting point. Completely different endings. And here's what's crazy. It wasn't about making more money. It was about making 7 strategic investments in the right order that compound into enough passive income to cover life forever. I'm breaking down the exact 7 investments that generate enough monthly income to never work again, and the specific order to make them in so you don't waste years going backwards. Stick to the end because investment 7 is the one nobody talks about that multiplies everything else. Hit subscribe and comment "still working" if you're tired of trading time for money, or drop "retired early" if you already escaped the grind. Now let me show you the math that makes this actually possible. Investment 1. High Yield Emergency Fund. Before you invest in anything exciting, you need the most boring investment that exists, a high-yield emergency fund. And I know what you're thinking. Emergency fund isn't an investment, it's just savings. Wrong mindset. This is an investment in not destroying everything else you're building. Here's why this matters. Let's say you skip the emergency fund and go straight to aggressive investing. Stocks, real estate, crypto, whatever. You're making progress. Portfolio growing nicely. Then your car breaks down, $2,500 repair, or medical bill hits, or you lose your job. Now what? You have 2 terrible options. Option 1, pull money from investments at the worst possible time. Market's down 20%? Tough. You need cash now, so you sell at a loss. Just murdered your compound growth. Option 2, throw it on credit cards at 18% interest. Now you're paying massive interest while trying to build wealth. Also stupid. Without an emergency fund, every crisis becomes a wealth-destroying event. Car repair doesn't cost $2,500. It costs $2,500 plus the compound growth you killed by selling investments early, plus the opportunity cost of not having that money invested for the next 20 years. Real cost? Probably $15,000 or more. An emergency fund changes everything. Car breaks? Use emergency fund cash. Investments stay untouched. Compound growth continues uninterrupted. You refill the emergency fund over the next few months from income. Crisis handled without destroying your financial future. The number is 6 months of expenses, not income. Expenses. If you spend $3,000 monthly to live, you need $18,000 in your emergency fund. Sounds like a lot. It is. That's the point. It needs to cover actual emergencies without you panicking and liquidating investments. And here's the good news. High-yield savings accounts currently pay 4 to 5%. Not beating inflation by much, but way better than checking accounts at 0.01%. Your emergency fund can at least keep pace with inflation while sitting there ready for disasters. Guy invested everything aggressively. No emergency fund. Thought he was maximizing returns. The transmission died and needed $3,000 for repair. Had to sell stocks during a market dip. Lost $4,000 total to fix a $3,000 problem because he sold at the wrong time. If he'd had an emergency fund, he would have used cash, kept investments intact, saved $1,000, plus preserved compound growth on that $4,000. An emergency fund isn't sexy. It doesn't make you rich, but it keeps you from going broke when life happens. It's the foundation that lets you be aggressive with everything else. Build this first, boring as hell, absolutely essential. Can't build a skyscraper without a foundation. Can't build wealth without an emergency fund protecting it. But here's what's interesting. Once that foundation is solid, this next investment is where the real magic starts happening. Investment 2. Index funds. The wealth-building machine. All right, the emergency fund is built. Now we get to the investment that does the actual heavy lifting. Index funds. This is the core wealth-building machine that makes early retirement mathematically possible for normal people with normal incomes. Most people never start investing because they're paralyzed by questions. Which stock should I buy? What if I pick wrong? What about timing the market? Should I wait for a crash? The questions never end, so they never start. And 20 years later, they're broke with perfect excuses. Index funds solve this completely. You're not picking individual stocks, you're buying the entire market. S&P 500 Index Fund? You just bought pieces of the 500 largest US companies. Total Market Index Fund? You bought everything. Large, small, medium, all of it. Can't pick winners? Don't. Buy them all. And here's what makes this beautiful. Index funds historically return about 10% annually over long periods. Not every year, some years up 30%, some down 20%, but average it out over 20 or 30 years, 10%. That's the number that changes lives. Let me show you the math that makes retirement possible. Invest $500 monthly in index funds for 30 years at 10% average returns. You end up with over $1 million. $1,000 monthly for 25 years, $1.2 million. $1,500 monthly for 20 years, $1 million. These are achievable numbers on middle-class incomes. Warren Buffett, literally one of the greatest investors ever, has said repeatedly, "Put your money in a low-cost index fund and do nothing for decades. You'll beat 95% of people trying to pick stocks, time markets, and outsmart the system. Boring wins. Consistently. Decisively. The strategy is stupid simple. 80% of your investment money goes here. VTSX if you're using Vanguard. VTI if you want the ETF version. VOO or SPY for S&P 500. Doesn't really matter which. They all track the market. Set up automatic monthly purchases. Then forget it exists for 20 years. The teacher started investing $600 monthly in a total market index fund at 28. Didn't try to time anything. Didn't pick individual stocks. Didn't panic sell during crashes. Just boring, consistent, automated purchases every single month. At 55, she had $1.3 million. Retired immediately. Lives off a 4% withdrawal. $52,000 yearly. Boring strategy destroyed every stock-picking friend she had. Index funds aren't exciting. They won't make you rich overnight. They will make you a millionaire over 20 years if you're consistent and patient. This is the foundation of every early retirement story. Everything else we talk about supplements, but this is the core. Do you see anything unusual? The answer is right here. Because while index funds build your wealth, this next investment actually pays you every single quarter. Investment 3, dividend stocks. Quarterly paychecks forever. So index funds are building wealth. Beautiful. But here's the problem. Most people hit around year 15 of accumulation. You've got this massive portfolio, let's say $600,000, and it's just sitting there growing. But you can't eat unrealized gains. You can't pay rent with stock appreciation. You need actual cash hitting your account if you're going to retire early. That's where dividend stocks come in. These are companies that pay you quarterly just for owning their stock. Coca-Cola, Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble. Big stable companies that have been paying dividends for decades, some for over a century, and they increase those dividends every single year. The magic is this. You own the stock, it appreciates like normal. But on top of that appreciation, the company literally deposits cash into your account every 3 months. You get paid to own it. It's passive income in the purest form. Here's the math that matters. Dividend aristocrats, companies that have raised dividends for 25 plus consecutive years, typically yield 2.5 to 4% annually. So $100,000 in dividend stocks at a 3% yield, $3,000 yearly. Gets deposited automatically every quarter. That's $750 every 3 months, showing up whether you work or not. Scale that up, $500,000 in dividend stocks at 3%, $15,000 yearly passive income. $1 million, $30,000 yearly. Paid quarterly like clockwork. Companies rarely cut dividends. Aristocrats literally haven't cut them in decades, so this income is stable and growing. During the accumulation phase, you reinvest those dividends automatically, Let them buy more shares. Compound growth on steroids. But once you retire early, you flip a switch and take the dividends as cash instead. Now your portfolio pays your bills while continuing to grow from appreciation. Strategy is simple. 20 to 30% of your portfolio in dividend stocks or dividend ETFs. VYM, Vanguard High Dividend Yield, is the easy button. Gives you instant diversification across hundreds of dividend pairs. Or build your own portfolio of dividend aristocrats if you want individual stocks. Guy built a $600,000 dividend portfolio over 18 years. Yields 3.2%, so that's $19,200 yearly. Paid quarterly, $4,800 deposited every 3 months like magic. He never has to sell shares to access his wealth. The dividends just flow. Combined with other income streams, it covers his life completely. Index funds build wealth. Dividend stocks pay you to hold the wealth. You need both. Growth builds the mountain. Dividends let you live on it without destroying it. That's the formula. Wait, there's something you need to pay attention to, because stocks are powerful, but this next investment is how you build serious monthly cash flow with tangible assets you can actually see and touch. Investment 4, rental real estate. Tenants pay your mortgage. All right, we've been talking about stocks and funds, all digital numbers on a screen. Here's where we get into something you can actually walk into, touch, and appreciate in real life. Rental real estate. And the beauty of this investment is brutal in its simplicity. Other people pay off your mortgage while you build equity and collect cash flow. Here's how the math works. You buy a $300,000 property. Put 20% down, that's $60,000 cash. Get a mortgage for the remaining $240,000. Your mortgage payment is about $1,500 monthly, including taxes and insurance. You rent it out for $2,200 monthly, that's $700 a month. Positive cash flow after the mortgage. $8,400 yearly just for owning the property. But that's not even the best part. Your tenants are paying down your mortgage every single month. After 30 years, you own a property worth probably $500,000 or more, completely free and clear. Plus, you collected 30 years of cash flow. Plus, the property appreciated the entire time. You're building wealth 3 ways simultaneously while doing basically nothing. Now, I'm not gonna lie, rental properties require work initially. Finding deals, managing tenants, and addressing maintenance issues. But here's the secret most people miss. Hire a property manager. They take 10% of rent, handle everything, and you still cash flow. That $2,200 rent becomes $2,000 after management fees. Still leaves $500 monthly profit with zero work from you. The real power comes from scaling. One property generating $500 monthly is nice, but not life-changing. 3 properties generating $1,500 total, now we're talking. 5 properties generating $2,500 monthly, that's $30,000 yearly passive income that keeps growing as rents increase and mortgages pay down. A woman bought her first rental at 32, second at 36, third at 39. By 45, she had 3 properties professionally managed, cash flowing $2,400 monthly combined. No work from her. Property managers handled everything. At 60, all 3 mortgages were paid off. Properties worth $1.2 million total, generating $4,500 monthly with zero debt. She literally never has to work again. Real estate paid for her freedom. Start with 1. Learn the systems. Make mistakes on a small scale. Then scale to 3 to 5 properties over 15 years. By the time you're ready to retire early, you've got serious monthly cash flow from tangible assets that keep appreciating. Stocks are great, but there's something psychologically powerful about owning physical property that generates cash every month. You can drive by it, see it, touch it. It's real. Here's something you need to pay attention to, because owning rental properties is powerful. But what if you want real estate returns without the tenant headaches? That's where this next investment gets interesting. Investment 5, REITs, real estate without the headaches. So rental properties are amazing, unless you hate dealing with humans, because Let's be honest, tenants can be a nightmare. 3 a.m. calls about broken toilets, trying to evict someone who hasn't paid rent in 4 months, discovering they've been running an illegal Airbnb in your property. The horror stories are endless. Here's the question: what if you could get all the returns of real estate without any of the tenant drama? That's REITs, real estate investment trusts, and they're basically the cheat code for real estate investing. REITs are companies that own massive portfolios of rental properties, apartment buildings, office complexes, warehouses, shopping centers, storage facilities. They manage everything: leasing, maintenance, evictions, all of it. You just own shares in the company like you would own stock. They're legally required to pay out 90% of their profits as dividends. So you get consistent passive income plus property appreciation, and you never talk to a single tenant. The returns are solid. REITs historically average 10 to 12% total returns. That's 4 to 6% dividend yields plus 4 to 6% appreciation. Comparable to owning physical real estate but with 3 a.m. emergency calls. Plus, they're liquid. Don't like a REIT? Sell it instantly. Try selling a rental property that fast. And here's what makes this beautiful for early retirement. REITs give you diversification beyond stocks. Market crashes, real estate often holds value better. Inflation spikes, rents increase, REIT dividends go up. You're hedged against multiple economic scenarios without managing anything. The allocation is simple: 10 to 15% of your portfolio in REITs. VNQ, Vanguard Real Estate ETF, is the easy button. 100,000 invested generates 4 to 5,000 yearly in dividends. Grows with the real estate market. Zero management headaches. Zero tenant calls. Zero property tax surprises. Guy wanted real estate exposure, but traveled constantly for work. Couldn't manage physical properties. Put 200,000 into diversified REITs. Generates 9,000 yearly in dividends. Properties appreciated 20% over 5 years, a $40,000 gain. Total returns better than his friends with rental properties, and he's never fixed a toilet or dealt with an eviction. Won the real estate game without playing the landlord game. REITs are real estate for people who value their sanity. You get the income, the appreciation, the inflation protection, the diversification, all without becoming a property manager. It's real estate investing on easy mode. All of the above will be meaningless if you miss this last detail, because everything we've covered requires serious capital to scale. But what if you're starting with almost nothing? This next investment might be your fastest path to building that capital. Investment 6. Online business systems, your income accelerator. Here's the brutal truth about everything we've covered so far. Index funds, dividend stocks, rental properties, REITs, they all require serious capital to generate meaningful income. Want 3,000 monthly from dividends? You need about 1 million invested. Want 2,000 monthly from rental properties? You need 3 to 5 properties. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. So what if you're 25, making 50,000 a year? You can invest maybe $500 monthly if you're aggressive. That's great long term, but it's going to take 25 years to hit $1 million. You'll be 50 before you can even think about early retirement. There's got to be a faster way to build that initial capital. That's where building an online business comes in. This isn't passive at first. It requires actual work. But it's how you accelerate from 500 monthly investment capacity to 5,000 monthly. And you can start with basically $0. Here's what this looks like. Pick something you know how to do. Teach it online, courses, coaching, YouTube tutorials. Build content that attracts an audience. Blog, podcast, social media. Create digital products people actually need. Templates, tools, and ebooks. Start freelancing specialized services remotely. All of these can be started nights and weekends with minimal investment. Realistic timeline. Year 1, you're building while working full-time, making maybe 200 monthly if you're lucky. Feels slow. Year 2, things start clicking, 500 to 2,000 monthly. Year 3, 2 to 5,000 monthly. Now it's real. Years 4 to 5, you're matching or exceeding your job income. Quit the 9 to 5. Year 6 and beyond, you systemize everything. Becomes mostly passive. The magic happens when you reinvest this income into investments 1 through 5. An online business generates $5,000 monthly. You live on $2,000, invest $3,000, that's $36,000 yearly, going into index funds, dividend stocks, and real estate. Compound that over 10 years, and you've built serious wealth way faster than the traditional path. Guy built a YouTube channel teaching Excel skills. Year 1 made $200 monthly, kept his job. Year 2 hit $2,000 monthly. Year 3, $8,000 monthly, quit his job at 29. Reinvested most of it, lived on $3,000, invested $5,000 monthly. Now he's 38. YouTube generates $12,000 monthly, and investments generate $4,000 monthly from a decade of aggressive contributions. Retired at 38 because online income accelerated his investment capacity by 10 times. Online business isn't passive initially, but it's your best shot at building investment capital fast when you're starting with nothing. The income funds the passive investments. The passive investments eventually replace the business income. Don't jump to conclusions, because what comes next can change your perspective completely. There's one final investment that multiplies everything else, and most people completely ignore it. Investment 7, skills and education. The force multiplier. All right, final investment, and it's the one that multiplies everything else. You can't invest $2,000 a month into index funds if you're making $40,000 a year. You can't save $60,000 for a rental property, down payment on $50,000 salary. You can't build wealth fast without capital, and you can't get capital without income. This is where most people get stuck. They're trying to invest their way to wealth on an income that barely covers expenses. The math doesn't work. You need to increase the income first. And the fastest way to do that? Invest in skills that make you more valuable. Here's the ROI that changes everything. Spend $5,000 on a certification, course, or skill development. That investment increases your salary by $20,000 yearly. Return on investment? 400% in year 1. Infinite every year after that. No stock, no real estate, no business comes close to that kind of return. Let me show you real examples. Learn coding, go from $50,000 to $90,000 salary. Sales skills, jump from $60,000 to $100,000 plus with commissions. Project management certification, $70,000 to $95,000. Specialized trade skills, $45,000 to $80,000. These aren't hypothetical. People do this constantly, and here's where it compounds. That extra $20,000 to $40,000 in annual income, you invest 100% of it. Don't upgrade lifestyle. Live on the old salary, invest the increase. Suddenly, you're putting $2,000 to $3,000 monthly into investments instead of $500. Your entire timeline to financial independence has just been cut in half. The strategy is stupid simple, but most people never do it. Identify one skill that would increase your income by 30 to 50%. Invest 2,000 to 5,000 learning courses, boot camps, certifications, and coaching. Apply it immediately. Negotiate a raise or switch jobs. Invest 100% of the income increase into investments 1 through 6. Watch your wealth building accelerate dramatically. The teacher was making $52,000 and could barely save anything. Learned web design nights and weekends for 6 months. Started freelancing, then went full-time at $85,000. That's $33,000 yearly increase. Invested the entire increase aggressively. Built $500,000 in 12 years. Without that skill investment, she'd still be at $52,000, unable to invest meaningfully or think about early retirement. The best investment is always yourself. Higher income means more capital to deploy. More capital means faster compounding. Faster compounding means earlier retirement. Everything starts with earning power. You can have the perfect investment strategy, but if you're only investing $300 monthly, it's going to take 40 years. Invest in skills, double your income, invest the difference, retire in 20. It sounds simple, but the hardest part is what's about to be told next. Because now you know all 7 investments. Here's how they work together to actually set you free. Look, here's everything. 7 investments to never work again. High-yield emergency fund protects everything else. 6 months expenses minimum. Index funds build core wealth. 80% of the portfolio. 10% returns historically. Dividend stocks pay quarterly income. 2.5 to 4% yields forever. Rental real estate generates cash flow. Tenants pay the mortgage while equity builds. REITs give real estate returns without tenant headaches. 10 to 12% total returns. Online business accelerates capital. Turn 500 monthly capacity into 5,000. Skills investment multiplies income. A 20 to 40,000 salary increase from 5,000 invested. Combined properly, these 7 create enough passive income to cover life completely. This week, build an emergency fund if you don't have one. Open an investment account and buy the first index fund shares. Calculate your financial independence number, annual expenses times 25. Comment, still grinding if you're working toward this. Invested today if you took action, or year 5 if you're already on the path. What next? Comment, 1. Exact portfolio allocation percentages. 2. How to buy first rental property. 3. Best online business models to start. 4. Skill investments with the highest ROI. Freedom isn't about getting rich quickly. It's about investing consistently in the right things for 15 to 20 years. Emergency fund protects, index funds build, dividends pay, real estate compounds, skills multiply. Start today, retire early, never work again.